everyone, and welcome to CMC Some Good News, Friendship Edition. I'm your host, Olivia. Here at CMC Some Good News, we're big on friendship, and we have a story today about how friendship was strengthened through a challenging experience. So, let's start off with a weather report from the site of that challenging experience, the Boundary Waters Canoe area in northern Minnesota. Levi, how's the weather out there?
Pretty good.
Thanks, Levi, for that in-depth weather report. And now, let's go to James, our roving reporter with some friends with a story to tell. Over to you, James.
Thanks, Olivia. I'm here with Larry, Steve, and Tom, and they're going to tell us a story about a canoe trip. Steve, why don't you introduce your friends?
Thank you, James. Actually, we took and participated on 4 different canoe trips starting in 2005. And I've known Larry since the early 70s when we'd go to church camp together. And Larry is a retired Moravian pastor. And at that first canoe trip, we met Tom, and one of our canoers, Graham Kerslake, is not able to make it on this interview, but he was my canoe buddy for those 4 adventures.
And '07 was the banner year, I guess.
So we were on what was called Lake 3, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was a blustery, cold, windy day, as I recall. And Graham and I paddling away, and in some way, shape, or form, we capsized our canoe and all of our packs, all of our belongings, and us in the middle of a lake. And then the adventure really began. And as I recall, Larry, you and Tom, you guys maneuvered your canoe quick.
We were behind you.
Yeah, you maneuvered, and another group of guys came off the land by the shore to assist us too, right?
Yeah, another canoe with 2 guys came off a campsite. It was actually on Lake 2, right before we got to Lake 3. But it was 45 degrees and it was really windy. We're running with the wind, and that can be kind of iffy from time to time, or dicey. Yeah, so the other 2 guys came off the campsite. We paddled quickly to there because I had a big rescue rope, but it was in the bottom of one of my packs. That's the last time it got packed that way, I can tell you. Now it's on top. We had to get the pack out, get the rope, right, Tom? Paddle back over there,
Right,
and tie it on their canoe. No motors now. We were all paddling.
We went to the shoreline.
One or both of them were, I remember it may have been Steve was holding the canoe in the water with one hand and trying to keep his other hand on the pack that was pretty much floating yet. We were lucky. There must have been enough air in the packs, the big packs, that they did float. So they were, with the wind, they were hanging on to the canoe and trying to hold a pack,
And they had
keep
their
from
life
losing
jackets
it.
on. They had their life jackets on, and they stayed with the
Oh,
canoe.
wait.
They did everything you're supposed to do, but they still got cold.
That was cold. It took us a while to get to land, I recall, and then immediately tried to get off this cold, wet clothes that Graham and I had on and into some warm clothes that you guys provided for us. Did we start a fire, or what did we made some tea, didn't we?
We thought about starting a fire on that small island, but there was a lot of brush, and we were concerned that we would probably start a fire right on the island and it would spread because of the wind and the dryness. So Larry got his small gas camp stove out.
That's right.
And boiled some water. And Larry, I think you made tea or broth
We made
just to
some
try
tea.
and warm them up.
It was tea, just to get some warm liquids in you guys and kind of warm up from your core. You were pretty cold.
Very cold. Yeah. Then we had to make the
Steve was
decision.
shivering.
We had to make the decision what we were going to do from then on, and we decided to proceed forward and go to a campsite and make camp. And that was really a demoralizing afternoon and night. And I recall.
I remember that Steve and Graham were partners before, but we divided up because they were so wet and so cold. One went with Larry and the other went with me. So we kind of divided up to finish our little journey to our campsite.
We had to do some more paddling, which I think helped warm you guys up a little bit. But still, you were pretty cold when we got to the campsite. And then kind of like our skills kind of kicked in and how they complemented each other. With Tom has great skills in fire making. Pyro type skills. So he got a big fire going, and I have skills with ropes and knots. And I always bring extra ropes. So I strung all these ropes around the trees, and we started hanging up equipment and clothes and everything. Not that it was going to dry very well at 45 degrees, but it got colder.
As we went to bed that night, Graham and I in our little tent, and we had all borrowed stuff. And everything we had, everything we had in that little tent was borrowed from you guys. And Graham made the remark that going to sleep this night, one of them that was appreciated wasn't the stuff that was borrowed. It was the friendship providing the stuff. And that was really highlighted throughout that adventure, where friendship makes all the difference. Graham sent a note, not able to be on this little call here. Two quick thoughts about friendship. They involve trust and confidence. Trust when heading there into the Boundary Waters. I trust that Larry and Tom would take us in and get us back okay. We are left into hands of two good friends. And we had confidence. When our canoe tipped over, I was confident we were going to be all right. Just never thought we would be, just never thought everything we brought with us would be wet. And I mean everything.
You have a souvenir from Graham. Do you want to show us that?
Sure. Graham brought us each a souvenir, and it's a little canoe paddle. It's very beautiful. It's sugar maple, handmade in Canada, Emerald Lake, Yoho National Park, British Columbia. And then on the back side, I found it this morning downstairs with my other paddles. It says, "May you paddle through life with the wind at your back," we did, "and your friends by your side. Here's to adventure." And that's what we had. This is the first time I had met Steve and Graham, and we became friends very quickly and are still friends, although we don't see each other very often at all. So this is a gift from Graham to each of us.
In short, after the experience, I wrote this poem called Snow Camp, because that's what we named the camp. So it says, September on the water, friends helping friends on a troubled journey paddling downwind. Isle of Dreams with an unwelcome plunge in chilly autumn nightmare. Waking to howling winds and swirling snow squalls and freezing temperatures at Lake 3. Friends drying clothes and mending spirits in the warmth of snow camp. Mending spirits. We all did that. We all did that together.
Yeah.
was nice.
Yeah. That's one of those memories, one of those experiences, you never forget. I'll never forget that. And the thing that'll always stand out is the resiliency of friendship, that Graham and I could have, bickered and fought and this kind of thing, but it brought us even closer together. And Graham and I still share a really friendship, along with you, Tom, and Larry too.
Yeah, we all do. I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, Tom and I have been friends since over 35 years, probably, here in Waconia, and all
Right.
these canoe trips and family things and stuff together. And I met Graham, I don't know, 10 years maybe before this adventure, and Steve way back. And it's a bonding experience that, when you're friends with people, you have certain adventures and things along the way that kind of stand out. The capsize experience really stands out. And we're all really grateful. I mean, it could have turned out differently. It could have been a real disaster. But we're all really grateful that we came through, and I think we did more than survive. We actually thrived and learned some things from it and grew together as friends.
That was an amazing story. Thank you guys for sharing. I hope I never have an experience like that. Back to Olivia.
Thanks, James. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And remember, where there are friends, there is always some good news. Toodaloo! And now, till we meet again, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Good night.